So I guess we're recording now, and hopefully that works. It's Alicia and Mike. It's 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on February 20th, year of our Lord 2019, and we're gonna get some awesome information out there, and we always have amazing conversations that wind and twist and turn through various topics and get out some good nuggets. So that's kind of the goal here. So
definitely, I'm excited. I'm ready.
Yeah, me too. It's kind of the first time I've ever done something like this, so it's kind of exciting. And to those that are just joining us, we had a bit of a struggle getting this,
mildly speaking,
getting this together, and you really don't know the character of a person until you put them in an unscripted situation, and how they handle themselves. And though no one was risking their lives here, it was a bit frustrating, to say the least.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah. You don't know whether you're recording or not. That definitely can produce a little sense of anxiety, right? You don't know whether you can move forward with the call or not. But it's all good. It's all good. I'm glad to be here with you tonight, Mike. It's always a privilege and beyond an honor to be able to share the space with you. So I'm definitely ready to dive into whatever we're going to talk about, because we always just seem to talk about great things. And as you said, the conversations do take their twists and turns. So anyone listening will be getting ready for the roller coaster ride, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what's been on my mind, though, and I didn't mention this before we started recording, but I just came from an interesting experience before we got on the call. I've been dealing with trying to help a friend out of, we'll just put it out there. He's struggling desperately with alcoholism, and he's in a very, very bad spot, to the point that everyone in his life has they're tired of his stuff, and he's deep in it. And he's one of these guys that I've known him for almost 10 years, and I've admired him and his ability just to connect with people, and he's got the gift of gab, and he's a brilliant salesman and made a ton of money in that. And one of the things that struck me when I was talking with one of his close friends tonight, trying to figure out what the story is and trying to figure out where the lies are and all this, because alcoholism addiction grips people to such a degree that they lie about everything, and to their closest friends and family. And we centered on which is something you and I have talked about to some degree, but not at length, and we both know it very, very well, is that when something comes easily to somebody, they don't appreciate it, and they very, very brazenly throw it away. And although when folks first meet me, they assume that I am, just a gifted salesperson, and I'm really good at it and all this, and I am skilled, and I've had success, but I've had to work for everything, all of it, and it makes you appreciate it so much more. In many of our conversations, we've talked a lot about success and what it takes to win, and how you motivate people, and how you drive people and encourage, and I think what it boils down to so far, and I've been reading a book that you may be familiar with called Grit by Angela Duckworth. Yeah. And I mean, it's just what it is, because I don't know how to give up. I don't know how to give up. I have no clue what that means.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know what that means. I know how to achieve my goals. I know how to change my focus if, something isn't worthwhile. But if something's worthwhile, it's just going to happen.
That's right. That's right. And it's going to happen, but not just by you sitting around. It's, by you taking the right inspired actions and having the attitude that you're talking about. Is you don't know what it's like to give up. You know what it's like to make shifts and maybe change the course of direction to let success manifest in a different way, but you never ultimately throw the goal out just based on it wasn't working for you or it was taking too long. I'm cut from the same cloth. I don't know what that looks like. I've heard about it.
I've seen the movie, but I don't.
Yeah, I've seen it too, but that's just not in my DNA. And I'm not knocking anybody who has not reached that point or those levels, but yeah, I definitely don't know what it to give up. I know what it's like to give pause so that maybe I can course correct or take another direction, or I know what it's like to move in divine timing and know when I need to be taking action towards that particular thing, or when, again, I need to be giving a pause. Because it's interesting we're talking about this because something I wanted to actually bring up within this conversation tonight was going to be around the subject of divine timing and people understanding how to get in sync with that. Because what I see, especially, believe it or not, working with a lot of leaders who hit a plateau and they get stuck in the work that they're doing and they try to evolve their missions, but they don't know how to properly make certain shifts. So then when a guide or a mentor comes along to help get them out of their comfort zone in a certain level, then they start going down this whole road about, well, everybody has a different pace and how they do things and just a whole lot of that. And yeah, that is true. But I recently posted something actually a few hours before our call on that note that I'm talking about how sometimes people will say it's not time to do something, and actually the thing that they're stalling on is where they need to be taking action. And then the area that they're actually trying to accelerate is where they need to be giving pause. So I'm sure you've seen that even in the work you do. In your life.
I've experienced it recently, and I believe I've expressed this to you. And if not clearly enough, I will do it right now. You were very helpful to me in our initial phone call when you encouraged me to re-examine and revisit and sit with, I think was the term you used, some writings I had done previous, and the intention in your mind was that would express more out of that writing, but it inspired me to do something different, and it also taught me I'm a control freak, and I tried.
No way.
I want to be in charge of everything. I want to say this is where we're going, and that's where we're going to end up, and this is the way we're going to do it, and that's how it's going to happen.
It doesn't always work like that, It's not linear.
It doesn't. And to some degree, I certainly have been flexible, because you have to be if you're going to win. But you've helped me to be, and I appreciate it so much, you've helped me to re-edify the spirit within me. And that's important, and that's very, very important. I very much appreciate that because I forgot about it a little bit. I've always been a very spiritual person. I go to church and I pray and all the stuff, but there's a difference between going through the motions and actually allowing your spirit and the spirit and the things that we can't see but feel. Allow them to guide you, or that to guide you, I should say. And it's it's been very powerful for me, and it's made my year as we approach the end of Q1 very, very productive and very magical, and I appreciate that.
Oh, I'm humbled. Thank you for expressing and sharing that. I am definitely humbled by that and glad to have been an inspiration. And please let me impart in you as well that you've definitely been an inspiration to me also. And just being able to have the dynamic conversations. And actually, I'm not doing it justice by saying dynamic, because every conversation we have had has been Boss 2.0. Definitely. And that's still not doing it justice. But we'll go, we'll just go with those terms. You've been a huge blessing to my life, and the continuation of everything that we are doing and planning to do together is even why we're having this call tonight and just taking things to the next level. So,
well, thank you. I thank you for that, and I'm glad to be that, and I strive to be that for everyone that I come in contact with, but you don't always hit the mark.
Yeah, that's true, and I'm just going to say, well, that's their problem. It's like it's something wrong with you. It's not mine.
Well, sometimes Mike's a little hard, and sometimes Mike needs to learn to soften up a little bit, and that's my growth opportunity, and I recognize that. But I appreciate you saying that too. You mentioned something earlier, and I wanted to comment on it. I think it's one of the intentions you had for this call was, and forgive me if I'm describing this incorrectly or not precisely what you were thinking on, but quit with the preamble, just say it.
In case you weren't doing it this way, I was thinking that maybe you could, just please.
But helping people to get past their blockage and helping people to get to break beyond where they are when they're choosing to focus on an area they think needs growth, when they need to pause that area and they should go in another area and grow the other area. And one of the things that I said, and I certainly didn't invent this phrase, but I was in a meeting earlier today and we were talking about a similar thing, and I said, well, sometimes you don't communicate with people well, and it's not necessarily your fault because they don't well, at first I said that people don't necessarily, no one does anything to you. They do things within their own personality type to benefit themselves. Always.
Right. And it's funny you said that. Let me say this really quick, Mike.
Sure.
It's funny that you said that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to interject this because it's like
you're fine.
What you're saying. There's I don't know who said it, but there's like a quote that says that people are not against you; they're just for themselves.
Absolutely. And in conjunction with that, and magnifying that is they don't see things as they are. They see things as they are.
Exactly.
And what a mentor does, and a mentor doesn't mean it's not someone who's overlording you. It's not someone who is your boss. It's not someone who is they're always telling you what to do. It's someone who challenges you, who makes you look at the world from a different angle and helps you to see those things you need to maybe put on the back burner and see those things that maybe you need to focus a little more on, because if you don't raise up the piece that you need to focus on, you'll miss out on how big the thing that you were so hardly focused on and intently focused on, and how big that could be, because you need, I don't know, the afterburner or something, I guess. I don't know.
No. You're right I had an amen corner with me over here, but I'll just amen to that myself, okay? Because that is spot on. And it's interesting because when you start to move people or push them out of their comfort zone, and it's what's interesting is this, they act like they want this. They'll come to you for help, or they seek the guidance, but then when the guidance is offered, then their resolve gets tested.
Yep.
And then they find out they're not as serious as they said they were. And
sure.
The ego gets in, you know, and I'm not saying that the ego is a bad thing, but if it is not serving the higher good, then it's the lower part of the ego that will counteract, you know, the good of a person being able to move forward. So when that gets involved, they don't want to surrender to the process to allow a guide to help take them to the next level, or at least provide them with the next step that they need to be taking. No, instead they want, you know, control, like you mentioned earlier. they want to be in control. They don't want to surrender to the new process, and they think that they're going to lose something, or they're giving something up, or it's the thing of, I've been trying this for years, and you mean to tell me that someone else is going to come along and give me some advice, and then that makes the shift. Then what does that say about everything that I've been doing? See, the mind goes through all these crazy spins, and the reason why I call it crazy is because if it was the definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again, right? And but you're not getting any results. Yeah, you're not getting any results. They don't see it as bringing in a leader or a mentor as them making a smart move. They sometimes they don't calculate that. But going back to what I was saying before, they think that they're having to give up or surrender something. And the truth of the matter is that giving up or surrendering is not really about giving up, so to speak. It is allowing a new way of success to present itself. So, you may let go of a concept or how you were doing something, a method, if you will. However, when you shift that or let that go, then you can embrace something new to come in. And then the interesting thing about this, I'm laughing. It's not really funny, actually, but sometimes you laugh to keep from crying, right? Because everyone's like, bless your heart, you're sad little, you know. But anyway, it's funny. But, the bottom line is that if you want to get to the next level, you got to be able to allow someone to help take you there, and particularly for leaders, people who have to lead and guide other people. You want other people to listen to you, and you want to shepherd them, but you want to be in resistance to the person who is leading and guiding you into those next dimensions in order for you to be more effective for the people that you serve. So
absolutely. Absolutely. And mentors manifest themselves in all kinds of different ways, and a mentor doesn't have to be a constant influence in your life. A mentor can be an event. It can be a person. It can be something that you, like you suggested to me, that it could be something that you wrote or created. Maybe you're a painter and you sit with one of your first paintings that you did, and that speaks to you in a way that helps you to create something new. And it may not be a painting. It might be a song. It might be a kind word to a stranger. Anything that helps you to see the world from a different vantage point that then helps you to grow to be better.
Absolutely. That's a great example to be able to make some distinctions so that people do understand it. It's not always about a person, so to speak, like you said, a physical person, but it could be anything. You have to be open. I think that, honestly, that's really the key, is being open to learning, growing, and evolving, and letting whatever tools or whatever life is presenting be that mentor to you. But if you're so shut down and you can only see things from a limited lens, just based on your current understandings or, your current knowns, then you won't be able to get taken into the greater unknowns because you're choosing not to see life through new eyes. And, I love to use the example, and you've heard me, talk about this before, from the book of Ezekiel, and when he was returned to the river bank and with the angel or the man, depending on the translation, and he saw things different than what he, previously had. And he'd been there several times. But how many times do we return to something, just like I mentioned to you about returning to your articles, we return to something that we've experienced, and next thing you know, we experience it differently because we're different, and it's also offering us another level or another layer of something. But if people are not in tune and in touch with life or with themselves, their journey primarily, they'll miss opportunities. And even when blessings show up or different people, however it's packaged, they'll miss it even though they ask for it. What's the saying that when the student is ready, the teacher appears? Well, sometimes it seems like the student was ready, then the teacher showed up, and then next thing you know, he fell asleep. And forgot you asked for the teacher to show up, and the teacher's here, and all of a sudden, I wish I could have clept this. I don't want to be in this class anymore. Anyway.
No kidding. Oh, my Lord. That's some good stuff right there.
It's the truth. Well, unfortunately, it's the truth, but it is. It absolutely is. And I think also on that point, and I'm not fully sure how to identify improper teaching, even though I've been able to. I'm not sure how to define it, but it's something to watch out for when you're in this process and when you start to open yourself to open these doors up. There are false teachers out there. There are false prophets. There are people that, and this friend that I was talking about, for a long while, I didn't realize that he was being controlled by the demon of addiction, and so because of that, I was led, and there was no permanent damage on my part, thank God, but I wasted a lot of time thinking that we were going, because he said whatever he could to keep me around, and we were talking about various business deals and people he was going to introduce me to and all this, but it was all a farce. It was all a farce, and so it's important that, especially when you become unrigid in your ways. Now that doesn't mean forgetting principles, because principles never change. Exactly.
Methods change.
Methods do. Principles don't. Yeah, right.
So you got to keep your principles, but remain flexible and malleable in the way that you see circumstances, in the way that you see people, and in the way that you perform your daily tasks, perform your business, however, and then seek out those mentors who can, even in the smallest degree, give you a different perspective, or be a rock in your life to guide you. You find someone who is where you want to be, you better follow that dude. Follow that dude. Figure out, that's the essence of life. Figure out what the hell you want. Find someone who's there and follow them. Do what they did.
That's right. And follow them. They need to think you're stalking them and tell you to chill out. That's how passionate you need to be about it. Seriously.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, nobody hear that and start following and stalking Mike and I, though. Have your own stuff come and bite you, right?
My Lord. Right?
They know what we mean. The proper context is that sometimes you do have to become obsessed in the right way with wanting to get to the next level. And if that involves definitely putting yourself around champions or people who are already where you desire to be, then you let them know that you're extremely serious about your growth by continuing to show up, by saying, can I have lunch with you? Can we hang out? Can we mastermind? Can we have a phone call? However, you know, that shows that you're serious.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was reminded today from a good friend of mine, Brian Breen, and he reminded me of a gentleman named, which a lot of people I'm sure know, Dan Pena. And he showed me a little video by Dan Pena, and he said very similar things. You gotta go find out what you want, and you gotta stalk it. And he was, of course, talking in terms of material things, but you got to get after it, and you got to. He used the metaphor of having the emergency brakes on in your life, and so many people, they stop themselves because they fear being embarrassed, they fear failure, they fear that someone's going to make fun of them for even trying, and the only difference between the highly successful people in the world and the average or failures is the highly successful people said, F it, I'm going for it. Or, which usually happens with me, or they back themselves in the corner where they have no choice but to go win. If they don't start moving, they'll sink.
They'll sink, oh, wow.
Into the abyss.
That's a hard place to be in.
Lord.
Yes, that's when you can get out ahead of that, right?
Yeah, right.
Let yourself get, you know, in that position. And I think that there's a certain amount of passion that allows us not to get in that position, at least not continuously, you know, once we see that we can create some different dynamics and have some momentum, we don't let ourselves get behind the 8 ball. But when you don't have that type of discipline, sometimes life will have to beat you up a little bit.
Life will beat you up. Smack you across the head. So wake up.
Black your eye and sit you in the corner with a stake.
It's happened to me more than once.
I can attest to that too. I dropped a couple of ice packs on my head as well. But but over time, you know, you try not to go that route. You learn so that you don't have to have those hard lessons. I think sometimes they do serve us to a certain extent, especially when we're teachers and we can be able to impart into other people and help them kind of get past the learning curve where they don't have to experience certain things because we have. But at the same time, we don't want to continuously repeat those, I don't want to call them mistakes, but I guess they kind of are. You might can sugarcoat the word a little bit better.
I don't think I'd sugarcoat it. I think I'd make it more honest, and I might put a bleep in there somewhere. But
we'll just say this. We'll just say this. So you don't have those fill in the blank moments, okay?
Yeah. Well, no, but you don't want that to happen. But when you're putting yourself out there, and when you're taking big risks, and you're trying to maybe change a dynamic in the world, you're trying to change our society, you're trying to change culture, you're trying to start a business that has never been done before. That you're trying
pioneer.
You're being a pioneer, and in whatever way you're manifesting that, whether you're starting a church or a charity, or you're starting a business, or you're trying to get to the moon, or you're whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever the endeavor is.
The people that change the world are the ones that just say, F it, let's do it. I don't know how I'm getting there. Let's jump out of the window and build the airplane on the way down. We're going to figure it out. And they invariably fail constantly. They just know how to get back up. You fail 8 times and get up 9. And that's how you make it happen.
DNA. Yeah, quitting is not in their DNA. They don't put that as an option in their consciousness. And so when that's not an option in your consciousness, you don't have a default to fall back on of giving up. It's just that you keep trying again. It's like, who was it, Edison with the light bulb?
1,000 times.
There you go, 1,000 times. I learned 1,000 times how not to do it, and here it's working now. And if you're not willing to actually have that type of passion and depth of expression for your mission, then yeah, you're gonna have to go do something else. You know, welcome to McDonald's. How may I serve you? Not that that's bad, but I'm just saying.
It's not for everybody, but it is for some people. And I'm glad it's for some people because, you know, every once in a while I want to treat my body bad because it tastes good. No, but I tell you another reason why it's important to have mentors, to have cheerleaders, to associate with people that will, you know, like you mentioned earlier. I reached out to you and said, hey, I want to have a call. It's important to do this because the world beats you up, and that's what it does. If you want to win, if you want to go after something that is not where you are right now, success ain't going to come out and slap you in the face and say, come on, let's go. You got to go out and grab it, and everyone around you, and it's the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life, I think. You would think that if you say, I want to do this, you would think that your family, your friends, your colleagues, your coworkers, your church, whomever would say, hey, go get him, Mike. You're gonna tear it up, and good for you, rock and roll. How can I help? They don't, and that it destroys people.
That's heaven. This is earth. Yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't happen. I mean, you do have support from different individuals for sure, but not in the way that most expect. And here's the deal. I think that sometimes that even serves us because there needs to be something about being passionate about what you're here to deliver in the world that you don't even need cheerleaders. I mean, they're nice to have, but you don't make them a requirement in terms of whether you're going to do what you're going to do or not. You have to still, whether somebody agrees with it, you have to still keep going. Whether someone is cheerleading you on, you have to still keep going.
I agree.
So I think, so I think sometimes when we don't have, and it's nice to have, don't get me wrong, and I do think it's important. So I'm keeping this in context, obviously. It's good to have those, but if you also become codependent on that, then it's going to be counterproductive to you being really, I hate to keep using the word passionate, but because it's getting redundant, but it is that, being passionate to do what you need to do in order to make the mission go round or the dream evolve, however you want to term that or language that. But yeah, it's all good. I think everything, Mike, honestly, is just having the right balance.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And to your point, if that weren't the case, then everybody would do it, and winning wouldn't be that amazing.
Yeah.
If everything was awesome and nothing sucked, nothing would be awesome because you wouldn't have anything to compare it to. So the pain is important. If you don't have pain, then you don't understand pleasure, and vice versa.
Right.
You need the yin and the yang. It's very, very important. Dichotomy is important.
Yeah.
But the challenge we have as humans is understanding that dichotomy isn't necessarily a reality, and you can choose which one has value. And but we all have a bad self-image. We think nobody else does. We all have a bad self-image. And we think when our brother-in-law or our mommy or our best friend or our teacher or whatever, or the person who was a mentor in our life in a former phase of our life, which is a really dangerous one, says that we shouldn't go on the next journey because they don't understand it like we do, then we take their view of us as having value rather than paying attention to what whom I believe is called God, says to us, this is where you're supposed to go. Because sometimes that happens, where we're on one path.
That's a good point to bring up.
and we've done pretty well in that path or average or whatever it is, and then suddenly we're presented with a different path, and our former mentor says, I don't know about that. And we want to believe him or her or them or it or whatever it is. And that's a major challenge.
Yeah, it does. It can be for those who, again, have become either really codependent on what their mentor's viewpoint is and wanting to please them, but people who are really in it to win it and are more interested in doing what, as you mentioned, what God wants them to do versus what someone else thinks is best, then they can get sucked into that, but those who are committed are definitely going to make what seems to be the hard decision and follow what they know to be right. Just because someone doesn't, I don't see how this works out. Well, what does that mean? You just don't see how it works out. But sit back, more news at 11. See how it ends.
Sit back, more news at 11. Oh, man, that's good stuff right there. Oh, boy.
I mean, it's interesting when people do, well, I don't necessarily understand. I don't think the Lord would tell you to, to do X, Y, and Z. Well, just because he didn't tell you or you didn't get that insight, that has nothing to do with what I received.
Yep.
Didn't you read where it said in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path?
Yep.
Well, I applied that. Apparently, you leaning on your own understanding. That's why you can't figure it out. Next.
Next.
Bang the organ over here.
Right?
No.
Well,
I love having conversations like this. Go ahead.
In all things, though, it's always worthwhile to get with people that you trust, to get with people who've given you good advice in the past and have been of good counsel, but also understand that, like you said, that they are not the end-all, be-all. They're just a piece of the puzzle, and anyone who has that sort of ultimatum towards you if they've been a good counselor in the past, they're not a good counselor anymore, and you need to recognize that, and sometimes that's painful, and that's part of the process, though, of growth.
Yeah, it is part of the process. You're right. You're absolutely right. It is part of the process. It's something people have to grow past for sure. And definitely, as we were talking earlier, when you are a person of great influence and you are in a leadership role yourself, then you're definitely going to be challenged with that.
Yep.
And you have to move past it because you can't always be interested in what the people think or what, like you said, someone who's been a mentor or a leader, to you in the past. It's all about the now. It's all about the present. If they're not in alignment for now, then the good wisdom they flowed before, that was for then. But
sure.
Now presents another opportunity for new wisdom, new insight, and also new people to be a part of the experience. And
well, the only constant is change, and you're if you want to consistently grow and consistently be better today than you were yesterday, it's going to require help from other people. It's going to require consistently new perspectives. It's going to require a lot of reading, a lot of
immersion.
The great word to use in all of it, and surround yourself with wisdom. And I think I almost said more important than that, but equally as important is action. You have to act.
Absolutely.
You can't sit around and be a monk at the monastery. You got to get out there and act, and you got to fail. You got to fail to figure it out. Because what you have in your head, that's the only way you learn. Because once you take whatever you've got going on in your head, once you take it to the market's going to say, yeah, I don't like that so much. Make it red. I don't like blue. Or whatever it is, you know. I want it to be a size 6, not a size 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you make it bend more? You know, I don't know. Can you make it taste like chocolate? I like chocolate. Can you put, anyway, I'm babbling.
Yeah, no, I understand exactly what you're talking about. That's real talk, honestly.
But even in that situation, the market is a mentor. They're telling you what to do. I will give you money. You make it blue. Just make it blue or whatever.
Just make it blue or have the white mouth and be hungry. I mean, which one? Take your pick.
Oh, jeez.
You're sitting in the dark. You're sitting in the dark because you didn't make it blue. Oh.
Did we even talk about what you wanted to talk about, or did I get off on a tangent there? I'm sorry.
No, we did. We hit on it, you know, because it all ties in, because what I wanted to talk about, and we have, was the fact of going back to the whole thing around divine timing and kind of the food for thought that I had put out on LinkedIn a few hours ago. And actually, you know what, I'm going to pull up. Can I read it?
Please.
Do you mind?
No, not at all. I don't mind at all.
Well, thank you. Okay, so my food for thought, okay, it reads as so. It says, just because you don't feel you're ready for something doesn't mean it's not time for you to do it or step up. Most people hold themselves back from stepping into a new dimension of greatness based on fear, lack of confidence, or convincing themselves that the timing is not right. What I know to be true in most cases is that the areas where people need to give pause or grow through a process, they try to accelerate and make things happen before it's time. On the other hand, the areas where it's time to accelerate, they treat those like the ones that require a process. For them, it's upside down and backwards. If you don't understand how divine timing works and you're part of being in sync with it, you will convince yourself that you have all the time in the world to do the things that require action now, and then convince yourself that the time is now to move forward on something that needs to take longer. So I offered some questions, Mike, for them to consider asking themselves. And these questions, thank you, are what is mine to do now? And then the second one is what is it now time for? The third one, how can I best get in sync with the divine flow and divine timing? And then the next one is, what am I most afraid of? Another one is, what would it look like to feel my fear and still move forward? Another one I offered, how can I know if it's truly time for me to step up? What areas do I need to accelerate, and where can I pause? So that was my food.
They're great questions. Well, they're great questions, and I think they're what popped into my head multiple times while you're reading that is that success, growth, breakthroughs, that they're outside of your comfort zone. Absolutely. And there are many times that we don't know what our comfort zone is because we're I guess
in it, right?
Well, we're in it, and to use the I think it's a Febreze commercial that talks about being nose blind you're nose blind to the odor of your comfort.
Of your comfort zone.
And so that's where a mentor comes in.
You don't know it.
Right, because you're not seeing it because you haven't changed yet, because no one has given you a different perspective, and those questions that you ask are great tools to kind of shake up your thinking a bit, and they're questions that lead you to discovery, and that's massive, and it's scary too. It's very scary because you know oftentimes we're not ready for the storm.
No.
But when you start taking those steps, the storm comes. And I read a quote recently. It said something to the effect of sometimes I'm not going to say it right, but sometimes the storm comes to clear the path.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
And we get scared, and one of the things that happened to me and my wife when we made several, and she'll tell you I made the decisions. She didn't, but that's a different conversation. But when we decided to go down the path we're going now, we had a bunch of friends and family that came after us, and not specifically for the decisions that we made, but just it was weird. It was random. It was crazy, and I said to her, I said, babe, this is happening because the devil's attacking us, because we are going down the path we need to go down, because look at the way they're attacking us. It doesn't make any sense. It's illogical. It's weird. And anytime something is just out of the blue and weird, that's the devil, in my opinion. That's the devil trying to distract you, trying to get you off your path, and that's the devil's greatest tool, is distraction and deception.
Yeah.
So back to those. I kind of got off track a little bit, but back to what.
No, Reverend Mike, you were doing just right. I was about to pass the offering plate over because you was bringing it.
Back to what you were saying though, because I really loved it. Because it's really simple to say that success is outside of your comfort zone. But I think it's really important. I think sometimes those quotes that we like to say, success is a result of of a progressive realization of a dream is what I was trying to say. But sometimes those often said quotes they can become cliched, and they don't have the power. They don't have the power that they had when you originally heard them. So it's important to break them down and get to the meat of it. And I think a lot of what you said there, and I think more importantly in my mind, the questions, which I'm going to think on those. I'm going to go look that up, and I'm going to read it, and I'm going to answer those questions for myself and see where that goes. But it helps to define where those barriers are, where you are now and where you want to go, and you meditate on that, and there's a lot of wisdom out there that you can grasp just by asking those questions. It's brilliant. I love it.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. It is power within, it's very empowering, I should say, with asking those questions, because I think no matter what level anybody is on, even if they're successful, I think revisiting questions like those and just asking those, it's a great exercise to do no matter what level you're on. What is mine to do now? I mean, that's pretty empowering to be able to get the clarity to know how you need to move forward, or what you.
Well, one of the great mentors in my life, who I was blessed to get to meet a couple times and speak with, but he said it was known for saying that I've never arrived. Success is never arriving. It's the progressive realization that you're always progressing. You're always, once you get to a dream that you set, before you get there, set a new one. And these aren't always monetary things. These are physical things, spiritual things, relationship things, or whatever they are. Set these goals, and before you get there, set a new one so you're constantly progressing, moving forward, and you never actually reach success. And he talks about keeping yourself mentally broke. It's all about the journey. And successful people keep themselves on a journey. Folks look at people like, the great major success stories of our time. You look at the Jeff Bezos and the Bill Gates and whomever they are, and Branson. And you look at these guys, and you think, what else is there to get? but they keep on going and getting it. And
yes, that's right. They keep on with the journey because they don't see it as a destination. They see it as one journey gives birth to another journey, gives birth to another journey. See, and I hate to say this, but small minds have a destination focus. Yeah, now let me make some distinctions here because we do need to have a destination in mind in terms of like if you have a goal and if you are trying to get somewhere, but you don't need to make that such a big focus that you miss all of the purpose and the wisdom of the journey, because I think the journey is what prepares us for the destination, which is only really just a rest stop and to get to another point, like you were mentioning before. But sometimes people want to quickly get to a certain place. They haven't properly prepared themselves through the journey to be able to handle what it is that they, quote, unquote, arrive, at.
Well, let's be honest. A lot of those folks, and you're absolutely correct, I agree with you, and there is a dichotomy in that statement, and I man, you could probably write a book on that. The success is not about the destination. And a bunch of folks that are, success-thinking individuals going, what the heck are you talking about, Leo? Of course it's about the destination, You got to have a goal. You got to have a focus. And, of course, there's more to it than said, and I absolutely agree. I know what you're saying. But I think one of the problems exists, and I think what you're trying to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but most folks, the destination they're focused on is not their destination. They're choosing their path based upon what society wants them to do, what their parents want them to do, what their station in life wants them to do, what their relatives said not to get above their raisins, so they're focused on the California raisins, and they want some wrinkly grapes. Sorry, that was a bad joke. But what?
No, that's kind of funny because it took courage to say that thing there. That's funny. I'm just playing. On a recording too. No,
oh my Lord!
No, that was good, Mike. That was good.
Again, my friend Brian Brainy, and I love this audio, this video he sent me on Dan Pena. What we talked about in there is I'm not. It's not a matter of going out and trying to be successful. Yeah, that's cool, but figure out what you're passionate about. What flips your switch? What do you? What you and Mike Murdoch talks about, the problem that angers you the most is what God put you on this earth to solve. That's the problem you're here. Whatever pisses you off, whatever pisses you, I don't care if it's social justice, if it's people don't have the right hamburger sauce, if they're not playing the right video games.
That won't let you know who you're recording. You're right.
That's good. We need to fix that. I'm just tough. But that's the key to your greatness, and that's the key to where your wealth, your success, and when I say wealth, I don't mean monetary necessarily. I mean relationship. I mean fulfillment. Fulfillment. As Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character in what movie was that? Oh my Lord! He said, "You're Quan." What movie was that with what's his name? Oh my, Jerry Maguire. He was talking about the whole movie. He was talking about my Quan. You're my Quan, my ambassador of Quan. He's talking about Quan isn't just. It's not monetary. It's not spiritual. It's not really. It's all of it put to. It's my Quan.
It's all of it. Yes.
All of it.
The whole of it. Exactly. Yeah.
The whole of it. But and most people don't have. First off, they don't know that they have the power to. And then if they knew they had the power to, they don't have the courage to, or maybe the tools to decide or figure out what do they want. What do you want? What gets you going? What keeps you awake at night?
That's right.
Go after it. With everything.
That's the clarity you need.
Go after it. That's the clarity. And once you do, and you write it down, put a date on it, and keep that, and you always put your you always put your goals in concrete and your plans in sand, because life's gonna come at you, baby. They're gonna start throwing tomatoes, and you better learn how to eat them and like them.
Exactly.
But the other thing is, even though people will come after you and say, oh, you can't do it, it isn't going to work, you're stupid, you're silly, you're whatever, you're too black, you're too white, you're too green, you're too purple, too fat, too skinny, too Jewish, too Christian, too whatever, bald, too hairy, too whatever it is, they're going to come at you. But the universe, once you decide, once you put a plan of action in place, the universe will begin to conspire in your favor.
Oh, absolutely.
And you will start to see magic. And that's what Napoleon Hill talked about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got it.
No, that was good. I'm telling you, you may not hear the amens over here, but they're resounding. Trust me.
I appreciate you.
Making a joyful noise, hallelujah.
That's it.
Definitely.
I'll take some of that offering plate, pass it around.
Pass it around.
I'm not shy.
Well, sometimes they'll be like, well, see, I don't have no cash. We got ATM out there, ATM.
We like the stuff that folds, not the stuff that jingles.
Oh, my goodness. You know what, on that note, since we're talking about, about that, and you mentioned about when you do start pursuing your goals, especially on a higher level where you do have individuals who may try to come after you. And sometimes I really believe that some of them, they take communion with haterade chips, with the haterade wafers.
Oh, my Lord. Did you say haterade?
Haterade, absolutely. They drink the haterade, but then they have the hater wafers.
Hater wafers.
It has to be.
Hater wafers and haterade. I love it. God,
it has to be.
So true. Bunch of sourpuss in there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because everybody's here to be great, right? And I always say to people, you're too great to hate. There's no reason why you should be hating on anybody. And even if you don't agree with what they're doing, or you feel, their plan or what they feel is God's plan, or however is not according to your liking or the agenda that you think they should be following, you need to still respect and honor that. Don't be a hater.
That's it. Everyone's got their path, and you don't have to be on it.
Exactly.
And they don't have to be on your path, and that's okay.
Right.
But it's difficult.
Okay.
It's difficult. A lot of the stuff, the challenges come in because we're very egocentric animals. We are communal animals, and we don't take rejection well. And these are all challenges, but they're all challenges that folks who succeed in anything have to overcome on some level. And I think personally, you need, and I obviously we agree on that.
Hurdles are there for them to jump over and build endurance and make them better runners.
Well, absolutely. There's a reason why I remember when I was on the swim team, the week before the big meet, we would all swim with pantyhose on because it created drag in the water. I was sexy. Especially at 13, 14 years old, I was absolutely sexy in my big wow with a big W. Wow.
Yeah.
And I was in the water too, so you got that going on too. So I was.
Wow.
I wasn't formless. I had all kinds of form. Not to brag on myself, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. No, but so the pantyhose they created drag, and so when you actually got in a race in the water, it felt like you were going faster, and it felt like it was easier And so it increases your confidence, and confidence creates results.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. I think Henry Ford said.
I think you just inspired some people to go and put pantyhose on and swim to build confidence.
Only when you're swimming. Any other time, unless you're female and in,
obviously, right.
You're probably a little weird. But to each his own. I'm not a judge. Not in front of you.
I'll try that at night.
Nice. At certain clubs.
Oh, that's hilarious. But but the point you're making is very, very vital when you said about the confidence definitely is what helps to yield the results. And that's true, because if you don't have that confidence, most of the time you're not even going to go for it.
That's true. Well, you don't have the courage to.
You don't have the courage to.
Yep, it's scary to go after.
I wouldn't encourage people to sit around and wait until they get confident either. Because sometimes if you step out and do something, then the confidence can start building when they see that it's not as maybe difficult as they thought it was, or stepping out to do it is not as difficult as they think it is. But do whatever you have to do, and like you mentioned, if you have to swim with pantyhose on to get more confident, do what you have to do to get yourself to that point. But don't let not having confidence be a game stopper, so to speak.
Well, absolutely. Well, because action cures fear, always cures fear. You got to just step out, step out on faith, and get out there. And if you got someone that's a cheerleader, love on them and bring them around and float, rise on that cheerleading. But if you don't, there's a reason why God gave you that vision.
Exactly.
And I mean, unless it's unless the vision results in pain and terrible war for people, if it's generally to help people out and to make the world a better place, it's from God, and you need to go after it. There's a reason why you've been given that, and there's, I think, a lot of times, because all good things happen, and God, excuse me, how do I say this? God uses all things to make good. I'm not saying it wrong.
It's all the work for the good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what I was trying to say. Sorry, it's late. And so you were given that vision. Probably your responsibility is that someone you don't even know is going to see you going after it, and that's going to inspire them to go after it. You don't even know the ripples that you create in the universe.
Exactly. Right.
You don't even know. So you're selfish not to go after your dreams. You're selfish.
And you're selfish to delay. You can't do it halfway either.
No, you got to go.
And slow and steady doesn't always win the race. Plug that in there, because people like to use that. Well, slow and steady wins the race. Well, not all the time, because sometimes if you're stalling on something that is yours to do and you don't execute on it, well, the universe or God will give that idea to someone else, and then you'll be sitting around wondering why you see an idea that you had manifest in a certain way and it didn't come through you. Yeah, because you didn't do what you needed to do to make it happen.
At the time it was necessary to make it happen.
Exactly. And somebody took my idea. Well, no, they didn't. Ideas come a dime a dozen, and they can be dispersed to whoever will be able to execute.
Alicia. Oh, man. That's huge.
Did we start something else?
Oh, I love it. No, I love it. Oh.
People do that all the time. Well, I can wait around to do this because it's like, who do you think gave it to you?
Someone who was willing.
Exactly.
God does not anoint. God does not anoint the capable. God anoints the willing.
Preach.
Whoa.
See, you take that real communion.
Oh.
The real kind. Exactly.
I love it.
Oh man, this is
God
powerful.
does not anoint the capable. God anoints the willing.
That's right. Because the willing will depend on Him, not their own capability.
Nope. Well, we forget. And you look at all the apostles. Thieves, murderers, liars, adulterers. I mean, they're all a bunch of derelicts. And Jesus is like, all right, this is where it's going. You're my people. Let's go. I mean, if Jesus came back today, he might go to Congress and start picking out his apostles because, sorry. I didn't mean to bring up politics. Sorry.
No, you seem to get the worst of the worst. Here they go. No, I'm just kidding. But that's for real. No, that definitely is. I love how the dynamics of our conversations go, from one extreme to the other. I think that, it's just a cohesiveness of greatness, definitely.
Agreed. Well, it's profound because it reminds me because we all struggle with this. All of us struggle with this, and for those who may hear these words wherever they're listened to, everybody. I don't care if you're Bill Gates or Ariana Huffington or you're Jeff Bezos or you're Billy Graham, or I don't care who you are, or you're the some bum on the street who doesn't have a dime to his name and not a pot to piss in. Everybody struggles with a low self-image and thinks they don't have what it takes to fulfill what's in their heart and their mind. But the reason why you have what's in your heart and your mind is because you absolutely can. And you should. And get off your butt and figure out how to make it happen. One step at a time.
That one step at a time. That's right. You don't have to know it all. But you do have to make those steps, in the direction to get to your destination. Ha! No, I'm just kidding. You just said don't focus on the destination. But obviously, the right perspective around everything. Yeah.
Well, Alicia, I'll be honest with you. Coming into this call, I thought, well, we've had some really awesome call. How are we going to top or match or even have a decent, I don't know what I'm going to say, or this has been awesome.
Yes, we always have the 2.0 words, right? I mean, you didn't think it was going to be something else, did you? I'm
inspired.
We'll have to get you checked out.
I'm telling you. I'm about to float out of my house here. I don't know. The dog's looking at me funny because I'm sprouting wings. I'm about to float out, That is crazy. I love it.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, it is definitely awesome. We always have some great conversations, and like I said, we take many directions with it. We just let it flow the way it's supposed to, and I think that when we have the conversations that aren't rehearsed, that don't have an agenda, and it is more impromptu, just the fact that, hey, we're going to get on the call and record, and hope it recorded.
No doubt.
Because if not, then I'm going to be in the prayer closet tonight. It's all good. It's all good. Well, Mike, are we wrapping up, or we...
Unless you got something else. I think we. I think we wrote about 4 books right there. Maybe more. I don't know. There's a lot of that's
transcribed, uploaded into Kindle.
Oh my Lord! I don't. I'm not jealous at all of. I guess you're going to take this and try and edit something out of it. I'm not jealous of you at all. Oh my Lord!
Well, good, don't be.
however, if you want any help or whatever, obviously I'm happy to listen and I don't want to say advise because that's a strong word. I'm not sure that I know what sounds good, but there's a lot of good meat in there. A lot of good meat in there.
Oh, definitely. Well, we both can have the recordings and kind of choose to do what we both want to do with it. So you can have I can send you the recording too, and if you want to choose to do something, you can. But I know what I'm going to do.
Well, I tell you what, I have never, and I'll be honest with you. Speaking of fear and being out of your comfort zone, it's one of the things that's held me back and I believe I've mentioned this, in recording anything and putting it out there, is that I'm fine with getting on and talking and recording, video, audio, whatever, but obviously there's some editing involved, and even if I knew what to cut out and keep in, just the technical whatever, I don't even know where to begin. I could probably figure it out, but I'm just not I'm not interested.
It's not your thing.
Not my thing. I'd rather someone else that knows how to put it all together do it, and if I look at something and go, well, I heard the raw footage recording. I liked what I said. We put that in there, and maybe there's a reason why it's not in there, and that's okay. But and maybe I'll change. Maybe I'll decide to go down that path, but I don't know. I want to.
It's all good. I mean, I'll probably have a version where it's just all of it, and then just have sound bites. So I'll probably do. I'll probably leave one version is just the full recording. Since people do know we're having a conversation, so that's not like we are presenting a webinar
or a
teleclass.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it is just having a conversation, and the name of this talk or series is that we're just going to talk.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we've been doing. It's talking. Didn't come with an outline of today we're going to be talking about blah, blah, blah. We're going to focus on da-da-da-da. We didn't do that. We're just having a conversation, and then I'll just say, anybody listening, you should feel privileged to be listening.
AM 2.0.
I don't mean that in a conceited way either.
No, I'm taking that way at all. But A&M 2.0.
Exactly. A&M 2.0. That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. All day, every day.
I love it.
Yeah,
well, I appreciate you, and I love what you bring out of me, and I love the inspiration that you give me, and I very much appreciate your friendship and your driving force and your intention and your presence.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Likewise, the feeling is doubly mutual. Trust me. The alignment is certainly there, and we're collaborating for such a time as this for a reason bigger than what we could ever imagine, and we just keep allowing it to the journey to give birth to another journey, to give birth to another journey, and let's just decide we don't arrive. How about that?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm always, even though I expect it, I look for it and I seek it.
Yeah.
And I pray for it. Whenever it happens, it always leaves me in awe.
Same here. Same here.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's right. All right, Alicia, you get some sleep, and I appreciate your time, and I love you. I love what you stand for. I love who you are. I love even more who you will be.
Oh, thank you. And likewise, doubly likewise. All
right.
what you said, I ditto all of that.
Absolutely.
And here's to your emerging greatness as well as we close out for the evening. Thank you so much for just being who you are, fully showing up and letting the world and me be a part of all of your dynamics and all of its glory.
Thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.